The battle outside the Girani citadel still burned. Smoke rose in black towers. The sound of explosions and screeches echoed across the sky. The Krexari hive beasts were everywhere, now climbing walls, tearing through gates and spreading chaos. Inside, the stronghold, Princess Kazari, sat quietly on a silver bench. Her long violet fingers were curled tightly in her lap. The room was safe for now, but the images she had seen today would not leave her mind. She had seen humans fight. Not from books, not in stories, but with her own eyes. She had seen Damon Voss, the human sergeant, fight through flames and monsters, just to protect her. He didn't ask for thanks. He didn't run. He didn't hide behind machines. Now, for the first time, she doubted her own pride. Damon stood outside the chamber door. His armor was dented and covered in dust and green blood. His left arm ached. A Krexari fang had cracked one of his armor plates, but it hadn't pierced the skin. Was tired, but he wouldn't rest yet. "Sergeant," said a voice behind him. It was Commander Patel, his superior officer. She looked just as tired, her helmet tucked under her arm. "Krexari forces are pulling back," she said. "We've secured the North Quarter, but they'll be back soon."
Hour.
Scanners show a new hive forming near the Varelian mines. "There. Building a nest here," Damon said grimly. "Yes. We'll need to hit it hard and fast." Damon nodded. "What about the princess?" Patel gave him a strange look. "Why do you care?" Damon paused. "Because I've seen how fragile their defenses are. Without her, the Girani won't listen to us. She's the key to this alliance." Patel studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Keep her safe. I'll authorize you to stay near her, but don't forget our main target is the hive." That evening, as the fires died down and soldiers returned to their posts, Kazari walked into the courtyard where Damon was cleaning his armor. She stood quietly for a moment, watching him remove broken pieces and white blood from the metal. His chest plate was cracked, one of his gloves was nearly melted. Still he moved with steady hands, like a man who had done this 100 times. "You were damaged," she said softly. Damon looked up. "I've been worse. You fought like no warrior I've ever seen." Damon shrugged. "We're trained to push forward, no matter what." Kazari stepped closer. "But you knew you could die. Still, you came back for me." He looked at her carefully. "That's what we do. Humans don't leave each other behind, not even aliens." She frowned. "But I mocked you. I insulted your armor, your strength." "I didn't take it personally," Damon said with a small smile. "I've been called worse." Kazari sat beside him, her expression softer than before. "We Girani are taught that power comes from the mind, from control. We do not understand your way of fighting. It seems so chaotic." Damon leaned back. "Sometimes chaos is the only way to win. When you're outnumbered, outgunned, and running out of time, you don't wait for permission. You move." It turned her golden eyes toward him and your armor. "Is it what makes you brave?" He was quiet for a moment. Then he looked her in the eye. "No," he said. "The armor protects my body, but bravery that comes from something else." Later that night, alarms rang again. The Krexari had returned, but this time they were not attacking walls or towers. They were burrowing underground. Reports came. In tunnels beneath the palace, soft soil near the old garden, strange vibrations under the eastern wing. "They're trying to collapse the citadel from below," Patel said, frowning over a map. "If they succeed, the entire leadership of the Girani Empire will be crushed." Damon spoke up. "Let me go down. We don't have the exact location," Patel warned. "Doesn't matter," Damon said. I'll find the entry point." Sorry. Stepped into the command room. "You're not going alone." Everyone turned to look at her. "I know the underground paths better than any of you. My ancestors built them. I can guide you." "No," Damon said quickly. "It's too dangerous." "You protected me," Kazari replied. "Now let me help protect my people." Damon looked at Commander Patel. She gave a small nod. "Fine," he said, "but you stay close. One wrong move down there, and we'll both be dead." The tunnels were narrow and dark. Damon moved in front, his armor's lights casting a dim glow. Kazari followed, her hands glowing faintly with psychic energy. She could feel vibrations through the walls, faint tremors caused by the Krexari. Digging, they passed old roots, broken bricks, and rusted pipes. It smelled like wet stone and dust. Suddenly Kazari stopped. She touched the wall with one hand. "They're close," she whispered. "Behind this." Damon stepped forward and activated a cutting torch from his suit. The stone cracked and fell away, revealing a hidden chamber one crawling with Krexari. Larvae, dozens of them. Eggs, growing, pulsing. "They're building a subnest right under the palace," Damon said. A screech echoed through the chamber. A large Krexari drone leaped from the shadows, striking Damon hard. He crashed against the wall. Kazari raised her hands, her psychic blast slamming into the creature. It stumbled but kept coming. Damon got up, drew his blade, and slashed at the beast. They fought back to back, her mind strikes, his blade, until the drone collapsed. Twitching, Damon stumbled, breathing heavily. "You all right?" Kazari asked. He nodded. "That's one. But there are more. We have to destroy this nest," she said. "There's a power cell in my armor," he said. "I can overload it, blow the whole chamber." She turned sharply. "That will kill." "You maybe," he said. "But it'll stop the swarm." Kazari stared at him. "No," she said. "There must be another way." She closed her eyes, focused, and reached deep with her mind. A wave of psychic power spread through the tunnel. She found the weakest point, the roof above the nest chamber. "If we collapse the ceiling," she said, "it will bury the eggs." "Without killing ourselves." Damon looked up. "Will it work?" I don't know," she whispered. He smiled. "Worth a try."
Bye.
Together, they planted charges on the ceiling. Damon set the timers while Kazari focused her energy to weaken the stone. The explosion was loud. Rocks fell, walls cracked, and dust filled the air. The tunnel shook, but the two of them survived. When the dust cleared, the nest chamber was sealed under tons of rock. They had done it. Hours later, back at the surface, Damon sat near a fire. His armor finally removed. His undersuit was soaked in sweat, his muscles sore. But he was alive. Kazari sat beside him, looking at the armor lying on the ground. "I thought your armor made you strong," she said. "But I was wrong." He looked at her, confused. "You are strong because of what's inside you," she continued. "Your heart, your courage. The armor just follows your will." Damon chuckled. "You're starting to sound like a human." She gave a small smile. "Maybe that's not such a bad thing." Their eyes met in silence. The battle was not over. The war would return, but in that moment, surrounded by firelight, scars, and quiet. Respect, they found something neither of them had expected: understanding. The sun rose slowly over the broken skies of Varelia, its red light painting the mountains and ruined buildings with a glow like fire. The war had paused, but the danger had not gone. Inside the Jirani citadel, repairs were being made. Engineers worked side by side, Rani and humans patching walls, scanning for Krexari tunnels, and preparing for the next battle. But deep inside the fortress, in a quiet training hall, two figures stood across from each other. Princess Kazari held a long Jirani's staff, its tips glowing with psychic light. She wore simple warrior robes instead of royal robes. Her golden eyes were focused. Across from her stood Sergeant Damon Voss. No helmet, no armor, only a black undersuit and taped hands. His scarred arms were tense, his breath calm. They had agreed to a test, not to fight, but to understand each other's ways. Kazari stepped forward, swinging her staff low and fast. Damon blocked with his forearm, shifted his stance, and moved to the side. He didn't attack. "Not yet. You move well for someone without a mind shield," she said, "and you hit hard for a royal." He replied with a grin. They circled each other. She struck again, aiming high this time. Damon ducked, rolled, and tapped her side with 2 fingers. "Dead," he said. Kazari narrowed her eyes. "It was luck, or training," he said. She paused, her staff still in hand. "Why do you train like this, without energy shields, without armor?" Because sometimes the armor breaks, Damon said. And when that happens, your body better be ready. Step back, breathing steady. Sweat ran down his neck. But he didn't care. Kazari lowered her weapon and looked at him closely. Your skin, she said quietly. So many marks, scars. Each one is a story, he said. Some painful, some stupid, all real. She walked closer. Her hand reached out, but stopped a few inches from his chest. May I? Damon nodded. Her fingers gently touched a long scar running across his ribs. It wasn't a clean cut. It looked like a wound from something sharp and brutal. What happened here? She asked. Krexari blade. Third deployment, I had no armor on. I took the hit to push a wounded soldier out of the way. She looked up at him, surprised. And you lived, barely? She touched another marker burn near his shoulder. Plasma grenade, he said. I shielded a child. Kazari's voice dropped. You do not fear pain. I fear failing the people who trust me. Silence filled the room. Kazari slowly stepped back. We Jirani, we do not scar. Technology heals most wounds. Our skin stays perfect. Damon gave a small laugh. Perfection is overrated. She turned, thoughtful. Maybe that's why your kind keeps rising. You survive through pain, through loss. You grow stronger each time. Damon looked at her. And maybe that's why you don't understand us. You've never had to lose something first. She didn't argue. Later that day, a meeting was called in the war chamber. Maps and data were projected in the air. All eyes turned toward the display. The Krexari Queen, the heart of the swarm, had landed. A new hive was growing inside the mountains of Nerith Ridge, only 20 kilometers from the citadel. She is creating a core hive, said Commander Patel. Once completed, the swarm will multiply tenfold. Aurelia will fall. We must attack now, Damon said. But she is deep inside the mountains, a Jirani general argued. Our weapons can't reach her. Our minds can't locate her exact chamber. There is one way, Kazari said suddenly. I turned toward her. There's an old tunnel system, she said. A forgotten path. My ancestors used it during the first wars. It leads under Nerith Ridge. Damon's eyes narrowed. You want to go into the hive? It's the only way, she said. Strike the queen at her heart before she finishes building the nest. It's suicide, a human soldier said. Damon stood. I'll go. Everyone stared at him. Kazari said softly, then, so will I know, Damon said quickly. You don't understand what's down there? I've seen it, she replied. I've fought it. I won't let you face it alone. Commander Patel stepped forward. This is against protocol, but we don't have many options. If you fail, we all fall. Damon nodded. Then, we won't fail. That night, before they left, Kazari stood in the hallway outside Damon's quarters. He opened the door, surprised to see her. She held out something, an old Jirani necklace, a small blue gem on a silver chain. This is given. 2 warriors of my people, she said. Not just to those who fight, but to those who inspire. Damon hesitated. I don't think I deserve it. She stepped forward and placed it around his neck. You do. He looked at her. You're not who I thought you were. And you, she said softly, are more than I ever imagined. Before dawn, they left just the 2 of them. The old tunnels were dark and filled with ancient machines and collapsed stones. Damon led the way, flashlights sweeping across the walls. Kazari followed closely, eyes glowing softly in the dark. As they went deeper, the temperature dropped. Strange insect noises echoed in the shadows. Then they found it a living wall of organic matter, pulsing like a heartbeat. Behind it, the smell of decay and acid filled the air. This is it, Damon whispered. Behind this wall, she's waiting. He looked back at Kazari. Ready? No, she said. Go anyway. They moved together, cutting, slicing, burning through the wall. It cracked opened. The Hive Queen's chamber was revealed. The queen was massive, 5 times larger than the others, surrounded by worker drones and boiling egg sacs. She turned her many red eyes toward the intruders and screeched. The drones. Charged, Damon drew his energy blade. Here we go. Yes. He fought fiercely, slicing legs, dodging acid, kicking back creatures. Kazari used her mind to blast enemies, holding back waves with glowing energy. But they were getting surrounded. I'll draw them, Damon shouted. Get to the queen. No, Kazari yelled. We do this together, side by side. They pushed forward. The queen let out a psychic scream, nearly shattering Kazari's mind. She fell to one knee, blood running from her nose. Damon stood in front of her, shielding her with his body. Get up. Got you. With a final burst of power, Kazari reached into the queen's mind, deep and sharp-like. A blade, and she snapped it. The queen shrieked in pain, her body convulsing. Damon rushed forward, blade raised high, and plunged it deep into the queen's heart. She fell, screaming. The hive shaking around them, they ran as the chamber collapsed. Stone. Cracked. Walls caved in. Fire and dust filled the air. At the last moment, Damon grabbed Kazari and jumped through a narrow tunnel, rolling to safety as the entire chamber crashed behind them. Silence followed, then dash light. They had made it. The hive was dead, and so was the queen. Back at the citadel, word spread quickly. The queen was destroyed. The hive was collapsing. The Krexari were retreating. The alliance had won, and in the heart of the victory stood human soldier and an alien princess, both changed forever. The citadel walls trembled beneath the weight of the Krexori onslaught. Though the queen was dead, the hive was far from defeated. Thousands of swarming creatures flooded the outer gates, their razor-sharp legs clicking against the stone. Their acid sprays hissed in the air, burning through metal and flesh alike. The Krexari were desperate. Without their queen, they fought with blind fury, driven only by survival. Inside the command room, Princess Kazari stood with Sergeant Damon Voss and the Allied leaders. We cannot hold much longer, Commander Patel said, voice tense. The Krexari forces are breaking through the eastern wall. If they reach the heart of the citadel, everything will fall. Damon's jaw tightened. We need to stop them. Now. Kazari's eyes searched the room. There is one place they cannot reach: the ancient catacombs beneath the citadel. If we can retreat there and hold the line, we might survive until reinforcements arrive. Patel frowned. It's a maze down there. No one has gone in for decades. We risk getting lost. Kazari nodded. Then I will lead. No one knows the catacombs better. Damon stepped forward. I'll go with you. She looked at him, eyes filled with respect. Together, then. As the Krexari forces smashed through the gates, Kazari and Damon prepared for the retreat. The palace corridors were chaos. Alarms blared, and the screams of soldiers echoed as they fought or fled. Damon helped Kazari move quickly. His armor was battered, but he refused to remove it. It was both shield and symbol now, a mark of his duty and resilience. We have to hold them off, Damon said, drawing his energy blade. Kazari closed her eyes and focused her mind. Her psychic power flared, sending waves of force that knocked back several attackers. Move, she shouted. They reached the catacomb entrance, a heavy stone door, carved with ancient symbols. Kazari traced the symbols with her fingers and whispered words in the old Jirani tongue. The door rumbled and slowly opened. The catacombs were dark, and cold, ancient tunnels stretched before them, twisting and turning like the roots of a great tree. Kazari led confidently, her mind sensing the paths. Damon followed close, blade ready. But the Krexari were not far behind. Suddenly, claws scraped the walls. A group of drones appeared, blocking their way. Damon swung his blade, cutting through the attackers. Kazari blasted them with psychic energy. The battle was fierce, but they fought as one. After the fight, they pressed deeper into the catacombs. Hours passed as they navigated the maze. Exhausted, they finally reached a large chamber, the sanctum of ancients. Here, the catacombs' power was strongest. Glowing crystals lined the walls, and the air hummed with energy. Kazari touched one of the crystals. This place can shield us. Damon looked at her. Then let's hold here. As they prepared defenses, Kazari looked at Damon. You saved me once, she said quietly. Now I will do the same for you. He smiled faintly. I think we saved each other. But the Krexari were relentless. The ground shook as massive creatures broke into the sanctum. Damon and Kazari fought side by side, pushing back the tide in the heat of battle. Damon's armor cracked. A large Krexari claw slashed across his shoulder. Breaking the metal and cutting his skin, he gritted his teeth but kept fighting. Kazari saw the wound and shouted, "Remove your armor. You can't fight like this." Damon hesitated. Then, with a deep breath, he unclipped his chest plate and let it fall. He fought bare-skinned, his scars shining in the dim light. The Krexari paused. They had never seen a human fight without armor, and they had never faced a warrior with such raw courage. Kazari felt her heart swell with admiration. "Your strength isn't your armor," she said. "It's your will." Damon nodded. "That's what I've been trying to tell you." Together, they pushed back the enemy. At last, the Krexari retreated. The sanctum stood. The battle was won. But the cost was high. Damon's wounds were serious, but he smiled weakly. "You fought well," Kazari said, sitting beside him. "So did you," Damon replied. Kazari took his hand. "We are stronger together." "I was wrong to judge you." He shook his head. "You never judged me. You just didn't understand." "Now I do," she said. "And I want to learn more." The two sat quietly, the glow of the crystals bathing them in soft light. The war was not over, but a new bond had been forged. And in that moment, the alien princess and the human soldier were no longer enemies. They were allies. The sky above Varelia was clear for the first time in many weeks. The stars shone brightly, like tiny diamonds scattered across black velvet. The war was over. The Krexari had been driven back, their hives destroyed and their queen dead. The alliance between humans and the Jirani had held strong, and peace was beginning to return. Inside the great hall of the Jirani citadel, a ceremony was underway. Princess Kazari stood on a raised platform, dressed in her royal robes. Beside her stood Sergeant Damon Voss, still wounded, but standing tall and proud. The room was filled with Jirani nobles, human officers, and diplomats from many worlds. All eyes were on the princess as she spoke. "The war tested us all, Kazari," said her voice clear and strong. "We faced a terrible enemy that threatened to destroy everything we hold dear. But we did not fall." She looked toward Damon. "And in our darkest hours, it was a human soldier who showed us what true strength means, not in power or technology, but in courage, sacrifice, and heart." The crowd whispered, impressed by the rare praise from their royal heir. Kazari turned to Damon. "You wore your armor well, but it was your spirit that saved us. For that, I offer you the highest honor of the Jirani Empire." A golden medallion appeared in her hand, a symbol of trust, respect, and unity. Damon stepped forward and accepted it, bowing his head humbly. Later, away from the crowd, Damon and Kazari stood together on a balcony overlooking the moonlit city. Kazari broke the silence. "You changed everything, Damon, not just the battle, but how my people see humans." Damon smiled softly. "I only did what any of us would do." She shook her head. "No, you did more. You showed us that armor is more than metal it is." The courage inside, he looked at her. "What about you? You were never just a princess, you are a warrior." She blushed faintly. "I learned from the best." There was a moment of quiet between them. Then Kazari asked, her voice gentle but firm, "Is there anything stronger than your armor, human?" Damon grinned. "You already know." She reached out and took his hand. Days passed and the alliance grew stronger. The Jirani began sharing their technology with humans, not as rulers, but as equals. Humans taught the Jirani new strategies, new ways to fight and survive. Together, they rebuilt what was lost. Kazari and Damon worked side by side, not as princess and soldier, but as partners. In private, they spoke of their hopes for the future. "I want to see a galaxy where humans and Jirani fight together, not against each other," Damon said. Kazari nodded. A future where courage and honor unite us all. One evening, in the quiet of the Citadel Gardens, Damon removed his armor again. This time it was by choice. Kazari watched, eyes wide with a new kind of respect. Underneath, Damon's scars told. Stories not of weakness, but of survival. Strength is humanity. She stepped closer and smiled. You have no need for armor around me, she said. He took her hand and said, and I have no need to hide from you. They stood together under the stars, two souls bound by war, respect, and something deeper. The alien princess who once scoffed at armor now understood that the greatest armor is the heart. The war between Earth and the Zarelian Empire had lasted for 7 long years. Battles were fought across burning skies and broken planets. Billions had died. Peace was not a gift, it was bought with blood. Now, on the dry and cracked surface of the moon Sarisfor, peace talks were finally happening. The air at the neutral base camp was heavy with tension. Human soldiers stood guard on one side, Zarelian warriors on the other. Neither side trusted the other, not yet. Between them was a large silver dome. The peace tent where leaders from both species would talk, argue, and hopefully sign an agreement. Sergeant Lucas Reeves stood near the edge of the human perimeter, holding his rifle tight. He was young only. 26 but already a war veteran. He'd fought on 3 planets. He had lost friends. He had seen how icily peace could vanish. Sergeant, said his commander through the comms, you're assigned to outer perimeter security. The Zarelian Queen's escort is approaching. Lucas didn't speak. He just nodded and turned toward the landing zone. A few minutes later, a golden shuttle touched down. Its design was alien curved and elegant, almost like it had been grown, not built. The doors opened, and a group of tall, insect-like figures stepped out, wearing long silver armor. They were Zarelian Salian beings with black eyes, thin limbs, and glittering skin like beetles. Then she stepped out. Queen Valari. She was tall and graceful. Her crown formed of living metal that moved with her breath. Her skin shimmered with hues of violet and silver, and her 4 fingers held a staff of crystal and bone. The human soldiers tensed.
No.
So did the Zarelians. Weapons were ready on both sides, but no one fired. Not today. Valari scanned the humans slowly. Her gaze was sharp but calm. When her eyes met Lucas's, she stopped. You, she said in perfect English. You smell of battle, but not hate. Lucas blinked. Ma'am, I will place my trust in you, she said simply, and walked forward. Lucas didn't know what to say. He just saluted, confused. Hours passed. Talks began inside the peace tent. Lucas remained outside, standing watch, while Zarelians and humans argued behind walls. The alien sun began to set, casting a greenish light across the rocky land. Then came the storm. Dark clouds gathered in the sky without warning. The wind screamed. Lightning danced between the hills. One of the alien guards ran up to the queen and spoke in their own tongue, looking concerned. Queen Valari turned toward the human commanders. My shuttle cannot launch in this storm, she said, and my camp is ruined. I will need shelter. The human commander looked uncertain. We didn't prepare quarters for Zarelian royalty. We can offer a tent, not much comfort. I do not need comfort, she replied. Another officer stepped forward. We can assign you a separate tent at the edge of the base. Guarded, no. Her voice was clear. I will stay where trust already exists. She turned and pointed at Lucas's small green tent. In there, Lucas's mouth fell open. What? Even the alien guards looked surprised. My warriors will watch from outside, she said. But I choose this human space. It smells of duty and silence. That will do. Lucas glanced at his commander. The man just sighed and nodded. Permission granted, he muttered. Sergeant Reefshees, your guest tonight. Lucas sat on his sleeping mat, trying not to panic. His tent was barely big enough for 2 people. It had one thin mat, small heater, a few tools, and a photo of his little sister back home. That was it. Queen Valari stepped inside, folding herself gracefully as she entered. She looked around, then sat on the floor opposite him, her crystal staff resting beside her. "I have never shared space with a human before," she said calmly. "Same here." "Never shared space with an alien queen before either," Lucas replied. She tilted her head, studying him. "You are nervous?" "Well, yes. You're royalty. I'm just a soldier." "All soldiers are royalty to their own people," she said. There was a moment of silence. The storm howled outside. Raindrops began hitting the tent's roof like tiny fists. Lucas cleared his throat. "Do you want some water?" "Rations." "It's human food, though. Tastes like plastic." Valerie gave a small smile. "I will try." He handed her a protein bar. She sniffed it, then took a small bite. Strange texture, but not unpleasant. Lucas chuckled. High praise. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the wind. Then Valerie leaned back and looked at the small photograph taped to the side of the tent. "Who is this child?" "My sister," Lucas said, "Syrah. She's 12. Lives back on Earth. I promised her I'd come home." "Family is sacred," Valerie said softly. "I, too, made promises." She touched the crystal at the end of her staff, and it glowed slightly. A small image appeared in the Arzarelian children running through fields of tall, glowing grass. "My daughters," she said. "They wait for me on Xerix Prime. I have not seen them in 4 cycles." Lucas stared at the image, surprised. "I didn't think aliens. I didn't know your people have families like us." "We are not so different," she replied. Another silence followed, but this one was warmer. The storm no longer felt frightening. It felt like background music to a strange, unexpected moment of peace. Later, the heater hummed quietly. Lucas sat cross-legged, cleaning his rifle. "You do not sleep?" Valerie asked. "I'm trained to stay alert," Lucas said, "especially with an alien queen in my tent." Valerie let out a soft laugh. It surprised him. "You fear I will harm you?" "No," Lucas admitted. "I just don't understand why you chose my tent." She looked at him with steady eyes. "'Cause I know warriors. I saw it in your posture, in your eyes. Now, you don't want glory. You want to protect." Lucas didn't respond. He just looked down, embarrassed. "Is that shameful among your kind?" she asked. "No, just rare." They looked at each other for a moment, and something passed between them. Respect. Maybe something more. Not romance. Not yet. But the start of a fragile connection. Valerie laid down her staff and folded her arms. "Rest, Sergeant," she said. "You have earned it." Lucas hesitated, then nodded and laid back on the mat. The space was tight, and her presence was impossible to ignore. But he closed his eyes anyway, trusting the silence between them. Outside, the storm began to calm, and inside the small green tent, an alien queen and a human soldier shared something more powerful than weapons understanding.